There are moments in football when everything clicks, when the countless hours of training, the faith in a young manager, the investment in raw talent, and the grit of rebuilding finally explode in a perfect performance. That night in New Jersey, Chelsea Football Club didn't just win a football match. No, we sent a message, loud and clear, to every critic, doubter, and rival in the world. The Blues are back, and we are not here to negotiate. We're here to dominate. Facing Paris Saint-Germain in the final of the FIFA Club World Cup was supposed to be the ultimate test. The French side came in full of confidence, fresh off a historic treble-winning season, Champions League trophy in hand, with Luis Enrique, the man of the moment, drawing tactical praise across Europe. But in reality, PSG walked into a trap, a royal blue trap, cleverly laid out by Enzo Maresca, a manager who has taken a squad of youngsters and molded them into a team capable of dismantling the so-called elite with frightening precision. From the first whistle, the tone was set. Chelsea didn't just step onto the MetLife pitch to play. We stepped on it to control, to suffocate, and to remind the world why Stamford Bridge has always been a fortress of dreams and nightmares alike. We were pressing like madmen, with Conor Gallagher sprinting as if his very soul depended on it, Moises Caicedo snapping at heels, and Levi Colwill calmly sweeping away danger like he was walking through Hyde Park. And leading the orchestra, Cole Palmer. My God, what a player we've unearthed. You'd think he was 28, not 22, the way he glided through the game with effortless confidence. The first goal, 22nd minute, was pure poetry. A quick exchange between Andre Santos and Malo Gusto opened a channel down the right. Gusto sent a low cross in, and there was Palmer, ghosting into the box, glancing at Donnarumma's position, and slotting at far post like he's been doing it his whole life. The roar from the Chelsea end of the stadium was deafening. PSG looked stunned. But not us. We knew what was coming. We've watched this team grow through tough days, through criticism, through transition. And now, they were blooming, right on the biggest stage. Palmer didn't stop there. 8 minutes later, he struck again. This time, it was João Pedro, the man who had already torn apart Fluminense in the semifinal, who won the ball on the edge of the box after Vitinha miscontrolled. Quick pass. One touch from Palmer. Turn. Boom. Bottom left. 2-0. Cue absolute limbs in the stands. Chelsea fans jumping on seats, scarves flying, blue smoke everywhere. And PSG? Their only answer was scowls and shrugs. You could already see the cracks forming. Hakimi and Ugarte started shouting at each other. Donnarumma was waving his arms in frustration. Luis Enrique, arms folded, lips tight, pacing like a man who just realizes your head hit an iceberg. The third goal was a dagger. And fittingly, it came from a man whose story had already touched so many, João Pedro. A lad who joined mid-tournament from Brighton, was thrown into a chaotic environment, and came out playing like he's been at Chelsea for years. It was the 42nd minute. Gallagher pressed João Neves near the halfway line, won the ball, passed it to Palmer, and the boy wonder flicked it over the defense with a nonchalant chip. João Pedro ran onto it, chest control, left foot finish, past a helpless Donnarumma. 3-0 before halftime. A demolition. A statement. But as sweet as the football was, what came next was distasteful. And yet, somehow, not surprising. Because, and let's just say this bluntly, PSG don't know how to lose. They never have. For all their trophies in France, their superstars, their marketing budgets, there's something rotten in the culture of that club when it comes to character. When things don't go their way, they implode. Like a malfunctioning blender, they just start throwing bits everywhere. As the referee blew for full time, a whistle that should have signaled sportsmanship and respect, PSG erupted. It started with a confrontation between João Pedro and a frustrated Donnarumma. Then Hakimi got involved. Then half the PSG squad swarmed in. Pedro, having just won the Club World Cup, was being harassed like a villain instead of celebrated like a hero. And then came the real disgrace. Luis Enrique, yes, the manager, charging in like a Sunday league dad trying to stop a touchline bust-up. Except he didn't just intervene. He shoved Pedro. Some say he grabbed his throat. Others say it was a face. Either way, what kind of manager does that? What example is that? You're supposed to lead by example, not by body-checking the man of the match. João Pedro later told Brazilian TV, "I went to protect Andre. I saw a lot of players surrounding him, and I got pushed. They just don't know how to lose." Truer words, my friends, have rarely been spoken. Let me pause here and ask, where's the dignity? You've been outclassed, outplayed, outcoached. Show some humility. But no, PSG doubled down. Their players stormed off. Donnarumma refused to shake hands. Luis Enrique didn't even stay for the medal ceremony. Hakimi pushed a camera away. Vitinha ignored Palmer's attempt at a handshake. Absolute shambles. Meanwhile, our boys did us proud. Enzo Maresca, calm and composed, hugged every single player like a proud father. Palmer, awarded the Golden Ball, beamed as he kissed the trophy. João Pedro, eyes watering, thanked the fans. And yes, Chelsea fans, we sang long into the night. We lifted that world champion's badge like it was a crown made of blue diamonds. And don't even get me started on the stat sheets. PSG had 66% possession. Yeah, and what did they do with it? Sideways passes, backwards passes, occasional long shot into Rose Ed. Meanwhile, we had less of the ball but triple the intent. 9 shots, 5 on target, 3 goals. No mercy, no flukes. Just cold-blooded, blue-hearted brilliance. Let's go deeper into that last moment, where the numbers told one story but the truth behind them painted something entirely different. PSG was 66% possession, 6-6. On paper, that's supposed to imply control, dominance, authority. But in reality, it was the most sterile, harmless kind of football you'll ever see on a grand stage. It was possession for the sake of optics, pointless, toothless, a hollow performance dressed up in passing stats. They pass it sideways, backwards, reset with Donnarumma, then out to Hakimi, then back again. It was like watching a team trapped in a training drill they didn't know how to escape. And Chelsea? Oh, Chelsea didn't need the ball. We needed only one thing, opportunity. And every time PSG offered us even half a window, we charged through it like a stampede. That's a kind of efficiency you can only get when your players are not just talented, but united. The defensive shape was poetry. Thiago Silva, at 40, looked like he had rewound time. Calm, composed, one step ahead of every flicker of French intent. Beside him, Colwill was a wall, not a brick wall. No, that would be an insult. He was a titanium wall wrapped in composure. And then there was Cucurella. Oh, how the man has been doubted, laughed at, mocked for his transfer fee, his hair, his wild tackles. But tonight, he was something else. He had Hakimi in his pocket so deep that the Moroccan fullback started asking the fourth official to check if he was allowed to cross the halfway line. Cucurella didn't just defend. He disrupted. He got under their skin. He turned moments into matchups and won every single one of them. And when João Neves, perhaps PSG's most frustrated man on the night, saw fit to pull his hair in a childish act of pettiness, yes, he literally yanked a man's curls like they were fighting over toys, Mark didn't react. He just stood there, looked at him like a disappointed older brother, and let the referee do his job. João Neves was shown red, of course. No drama. No theatrics. Just the inevitable result of a team boiling over under the weight of their own failure. And all the while, Chelsea never blinked. We didn't retaliate. We didn't dive or exaggerate. We let the scoreboard and our discipline do the talking. And the midfield, my God, the midfield. Enzo Fernandez wasn't even on the pitch. And yet, Gallagher and Caicedo played like twin engines of a luxury warplane. Gallagher, with his endless running, disrupted every build-up PSG attempted. He pressed Vitinha until the Portuguese midfielders started taking extra touches out of sheer panic. Caicedo, meanwhile, was a conductor of destruction. He read every pass, intercepted every channel, never looked flustered. He made Kolo Muani disappear into a fog of anonymous touchies. Now, zoom in on that tactical setup. Maresca didn't just set us up to counter PSG. He set us up to expose every one of their weaknesses. Our backline was always 5 yards deeper than usual. Smart, considering PSG's speed in transition. Our fullbacks inverted just enough to clog the central overloads, and Palmer dropped into the half spaces to confuse Danilo and Ugarte, who, By halftime, looked like they were chasing shadows painted by a genius. It was meticulous, ruthless, blueprint football. What some people still don't understand is that possession is only as good as the fear it creates. And Chelsea, with only 34% of the ball, had PSG trembling every time we advanced past the halfway line. You could see it in the eyes of their defenders. Marquinhos barking at everyone but solving nothing. Danilo flailing like he was swimming upstream. Donnarumma, rooted, frozen, trying to psych himself up after every goal, but only sinking deeper into disbelief. And let's not forget the mentality. That was the most underrated difference on that pitch. Our boys were fearless. Not reckless, fearless. They smelled blood and didn't hesitate. PSG, on the other hand, crumbled the moment they had to dig deep. It was as if every goal we scored drained another liter of belief from their legs. They didn't just lose. They unspooled. And what do you call that when a team with more experience, more money, and more of the ball looks less threatening than a polite breeze on a summer day? You call it superiority. You call it Chelsea Football Club. And you call it justice. Let's settle deeper into that final thought. Chelsea's superiority, not just in tactics or technique, but in mentality, in presence, in identity. Because what happened on that pitch wasn't simply a collapse from PSG. It was a masterclass from Chelsea in how to show up for a final, not with fireworks and fake confidence, but with steely silence, conviction in every movement, and a collective belief that borders on spiritual. What does superiority look like when it's wearing blue? It looks like Cole Palmer demanding the ball in tight spaces, surrounded by 2 or 3 PSG players, yet never once panicking. He controls with the inside of his boot, scans the field in a millisecond, and with the calmness of someone ordering a coffee, releases a ball into space where João Pedro's already sprinting. Superiority is that pass, not flashy, not viral, but devastatingly effective. It's a weapon that doesn't announce itself until it's already pierced the armor. It's Andre Santos stepping into a final against one of the richest clubs on earth and playing like he owns a stadium lease. A 20-year-old who was loaned out, questioned, and nearly forgotten by those who don't understand patience in football, now standing toe-to-toe with Ugarte and Vitinha and coming out every single time with the ball, and his dignity intact. His positioning was sublime. Every time PSG tried to build centrally, they ran into him like bird flying into a spotless glass door. Superiority is Levi Colwill letting the ball roll past him, baiting Kolo Muani into the press, and then casually shielding him off before playing a left-footed diagonal into Palmer's stride with such weight and accuracy it felt like he programmed it beforehand. It's a centre-back pairing with Thiago Silva that doesn't just block attacks but predicts them. Thiago didn't need to sprint. He was already standing where Mbappe would have been, had he played. That's the kind of aura this man has. It's not just football IQ, it's veteran sorcery. And then there's the body language. That subtle yet thunderous detail. Chelsea players didn't scream over celebrate after each goal. There were smiles, high fives, yes, but they celebrated like a team that expected to score. That's the ultimate form of dominance, not needing to prove anything, because the proof is already on the pitch. Contrast that with PSG. Every gesture from them was louder than the last, like a group of men who couldn't believe what they were experiencing. Luis Enrique pacing aggressively in the technical area, gesturing wildly at players who avoided his eye contact. Danilo shouting at no one in particular. Hakimi clapping sarcastically after being fouled, as if the cosmos was against him rather than just being outplayed. Donnarumma, at one point, actually shouted at a ball boy for tossing him the ball too slowly after conceding the second goal. It was desperation. Visible, undeniable desperation. Now, superiority also shows itself in control. Not just controlling the tempo, but controlling the chaos. And Chelsea? We mastered the chaos. Every final has an emotional spike. Every match at this level has at least 5 minutes where it feels like everything could slip. For us, that spike came just after the third goal. PSG, stunned, angry, and humiliated, began throwing themselves into challenges, late tackles, frustrated tugs. One by one, they tried to break the rhythm, hoping to bait someone, anyone, into retaliation. But Chelsea didn't bite. They didn't even flinch. They just kept playing. João Pedro was kicked, clipped, even elbowed at one point. He stood up, fixed his socks, and nodded to the referee. Malo Gusto got shoulder barged into the advertising board by Nuno Mendes. He just picked himself up and resumed his run. No rolling, no hands in the air, no drama, because they knew that winning the game means more than winning a moment of theatrics. That's also what superiority looks like, composure in the face of provocation. When a team tries to turn the match into a brawl because they can't win the football, the best answer is to keep playing at your level. Keep passing. Keep pressing. Keep believing. Chelsea did exactly that. And the fans? Oh, the fans were feeding off it. Every touch, every interception, every calm clearance was met with applause and admiration. At one point in the first half, after a 35-pass sequence that ended with Cucurella shielding the ball out for a goal kick, the Chelsea erupted as if we'd just scored. Because we knew that what we were seeing wasn't just good football, it was principled football. It was our identity, fully restored. And while the PSG supporters sat in a stunned silence, trying to figure out how their team of Galacticos looked more like ghosts, the Chelsea faithful stood tall, singing louder with each passing minute. Blue as the color echoed around the MetLife, bouncing off confused Parisians and landing like a national anthem for Team Reborn.